Hi everybody, Matt here from Matt Likes Comics. And today I'm going to be doing my response to Allan, the Comic Collector Geeks Friday Challenge with regards to books from my birth year. Now my birth year was 1971. So I've pulled out books from 1971. Now, as this shirt may indicate, I don't get a chance often enough that I can make a challenge or with regards to the Friday Comic Challenge, just of books from the Superman family. I have other books from 1971. In fact, thanks to my sponsor, Nefarious Comics, I managed to find 4 issues of Conan from 1971 at the store, and you know, could have them into this video, but I decided that I'm going to show exclusively Superman family ones, and I have 12 here instead of 10, simply because I can. And I'm going with the Superman because honestly, I love Superman and the Superman family, and a chance to do something like this doesn't come along that often, so I'm going to take advantage. Now, my birth month is October. I have a couple of October ones here, but believe it or not, I don't have every October one because I don't have complete, although I have complete adventure, action, Superman runs from well before 1971. I don't have the complete Lois, Superboy, or Jimmy Olsen. So in some of those cases, in fact, I only have one Jimmy Olsen book from 1971. What I've done is I've pulled 2 books from each series, with the exception of Jimmy because I only have the one, and I replaced it with a third Lois one because I thought the covers were cool. So I'm going to show the books in no particular order other than this is how I've piled them. These are my top birth year ones. For the record, I don't know how Allan was running this, but at the time of this taping, but I go by cover date and not release date because in my mind it was just that much easier. Although this is not very stressful, this is comic books and it's supposed to be a lot of fun. It still makes it even less stressful for me if I just eliminate and look at the covers rather than the the inside date there, rather than try to look up release dates, because that's just, although I don't mind research and all that other stuff anyway, this is fun. So let's go with this. First book is Adventure Comics 408 from July 1971. And this has a cool ghostly like one where she's like, "You can't be here. You died more than 50 years ago." And the ghost in the background is, "Did I?" This, of course, 1971 is like the beginning of the true Bronze Age horror, right? So it starts in 69 with some books, but in 70 and 71, that's when it was really starting to take a kick. And here is October 1971, Supergirl 411, where a kid is walking around and saying, "You can stop following me, Supergirl. I'm fine." Meanwhile, there's this huge alien in the back. Next up, I'm going with Action Comics. The first one is October 1971's Action Comics 405 with a good-looking Neil Adams cover. Unfortunately, one of the people who owned this book before did scratch out the 25 cents and put a 10-cent, but it's still a pretty cool looking cover. I like it. And then one of my favorite covers from these early action years, Action Comics 406, where he's walking around, it's a ghost walking around with a beheaded Superman. This, by the way, this particular story is one that I first read in a digest years ago, was reprinted, and it was one of my favorites then. And It was in a book called Superman versus the Supernatural, and it was really cool. If you're going to read anything from this video, this is one of the ones you should read. Next up, Superboy 175 from June 1971. Another ghostly type cover. As I said, things were starting to get a little horrific because the code was loosening at this time. So even the Super family was kicking in on it. Then October, note that date, October, issue number 178. Again, now Superboy's turning into a bat creature. As I said, it's they're beginning to get into horror a bit with some of this stuff. And I liked it. Next up, we have February's Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane. This is another story, by the way, that was in that Supernatural book story. This is 108 from February. And the identity of the ghost, I won't completely give it away, but if you've seen my videos before, I may have shown this book once or twice, and you would know who the person is who's going after Lois. But this was in the the same book that I was referring to earlier. So it's pretty cool. Next up, from May, Lois Lane 110. Another Neal Adams cover. It is not politically correct for this day and age, but it is pretty cool nonetheless. Anytime you can get Neal Adams covers involved, you go for it. And then issue 116 from November. I didn't have the October one for this series, so I didn't use it. Three to go. This is the only Jimmy Olsen on the list. This is July 1971, because 1971 was when Kirby was really starting to do stuff with Jimmy. 1971 started with with 135, the January issue, which was the second appearance, like the second Dark Side appearance in Jimmy Olsen again. So it was more of that era. The books are harder to find that first half of the year. So I've got July 139, which is the July issue 139, which is the first issue with Don Rickles in it. And I have no other ones from 19. My next Jimmy Olsen is January 72. So I wasn't able to get a second one for that one, which is why I went with 3 Loises. Now the next two. The famous Neal Adams cover of 233 is January 1971 cover date. That one I could show, but I've shown that in so many of these challenges that I decided to do 2 other Neal Adams covers from that year. And because I liked these covers better, I did not use the October one for this year as a result. This is the book after the famous one. This is 234, February 1971, where you can see the Sand Superman, who was introduced in the issue before. This is his first cover appearance, flying by, and Superman falling. Because if you read the story, every time the Sand Superman and Superman are close to each other, whoever has the more greater power at that time loses it to the other until they become to an equilibrium. Very cool. And I used September 242, which was the Pentulet. It was the final issue of this run. I'm trying to sound smart, eh? Not working. And this is, again, the Neil Adams cover, where the Stan Superman beating the crap out of each other. I had them cover this book on book club because this was the coolest. I mean, like, it's the end of the series, right? So you get to the point where this particular story I read for the first time in a digest as well. And it sort of made me obsessed with getting it over the years. Those are my 12 books for this challenge. If you liked these books, please like, comment, and subscribe below. Please tell me which one you liked best. Please tell me if you, 1971 books that you would have chosen, perhaps if you were born in 1971. If you want to participate, all you need to do is pull out 10 books from your birth year, make a video, use Friday Comic Challenge, hashtag Friday Comic Challenge, and, tag Allan, the Comic Collector Geek. And if you'd like, tag me as well, because as I say every week, I love these videos. I watch every one I can find, and they're fun. I get to see covers I've never seen before in these, and I love it. And if you're not doing anything, check out my, my sponsor, Nefarious Comics. Details in the description of this video. Thank you all for coming today. My name's Matt. I like comics, and I hope you do too. Bye, everybody.